Hey guys, welcome to Cape and Cowl Café. I'm Nemo, and today I will be casting some villains that I would love to see in James Gunn's DC universe. If you guys enjoy the video at any point today, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button, but let's just hop right into this. Alright, so there won't be very many big main Batman villains on this list. I'm going to be including a lot of villains that we really haven't seen before, and ones that I would just love to see in this new universe. So, first on the list, we have Mr. Freeze, a villain who has not been given the justice that he deserves in live action. I mean, we had this, whatever this was, but you know, we can do better than that. So, I have two picks for Mr. Freeze, the first one being Giancarlo Esposito, and I think that he would just be the perfect Mr. Freeze. I mean, this guy loves playing villains. He plays a bunch of them. You've probably seen him in Breaking Bad and Star Wars, but you know, Mr. Freeze is a character that needs to give off some intelligent and just really sad energy. And I think that this actor just nails both of those. All right, and my second pick for Mr. Freeze would have to be Paul Bettany. Obviously, everyone knows him as Vision from the Marvel movies. I don't think that he really got to show off all of his acting chops in that role, but I think that he could nail Mr. Freeze, okay? I mean, he's got the look, just gotta give him a buzz cut. You know, CGI his skin blue and you know all that, but also, he played a robot for many years, you know, in the Iron Man movies. He was Jarvis, and Mr. Freeze has a cold, emotionless, robotic voice.
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
So, I think it fits. Honestly, I don't know which one of them would be better. I mean, you can make really strong arguments for either one, but I just thought I would throw both of these names out there. All right, next on the list, we're going to be talking about a villain who wouldn't really make a good main villain, but would be an excellent side antagonist. That being the Ventriloquist and Scarface. I have been wanting to see this villain in a Batman project for the longest time. I think he is so interesting and just such an out there character that you would never really expect to see. All right, and my first pick for Arnold Wesker would have to be Toby Jones. You've probably seen him in Captain America, the First Avenger. He played the German scientist guy, but he literally looks like Arnold Wesker ripped from the page. And we know that he can play the timid, kind of anxious, scared character. That's what he played in Captain America. And it would pretty much translate over to the DCU with the Ventriloquist. And I really think that he could nail this role. It just, I don't know, it's a match made in heaven. Or you could go with someone like John Lithgow, who played a serial killer on Dexter. He was family man by day, psychotic freak by night, and he played the double life really well. And he just has the kind of fake friendly energy that would be good for this character. But the only problem is, this guy is 6'4". That's really tall for the Ventriloquist, a character who's usually depicted as, you know, kind of a shorter, more timid man. And so I think that his acting skills would be really good for this role. I think that he is just too tall, and he's like in his 80s, so that might be a little too old. But I mean, the thing that I love about the Ventriloquist in the comics and all the shows that he appears in is you never really know if it's him or the puppet, you know, if like the puppet's magic or something. And I think that when they keep that intrigue part of the story, it just makes it so much more interesting and just more fun. So I would love to see this character in a Batman movie. All right, the next character on the list is Professor Pyg, another side antagonist. I don't really see this being a main villain, but he would be really good for just a classic detective Batman story. And, you know, we haven't really seen him in any mainstream forms of media other than the Arkham Knight game, so I think that he could get, you know, some good treatment, whether it's in a Bat Family adjacent TV project or a Batman movie. It would just be nice to see him. All right, but my pick for Professor Pyg would have to be Josh Gad. Now, I've only really seen him in a few things. I know him from New Girl, but he's a weird dude. And you gotta pick a weird dude to play Professor Pyg. I mean, the guy's kind of a freak. Not saying that Josh Gad is the same kind of freak that Professor Pyg is, but I think he could play that kind of freak pretty well. I mean, if they're gonna do anything similar with his voice, like they did in Arkham Knight, with like the opera singing, I mean, this guy has musical history, so you could go with that. I don't really have any other picks for him. It was kind of hard to find people that, you know, matched this kind of weirdness, but I think that Josh Gad could do a decent job. All right, the next two characters on the list are going to be very controversial ones because these are pretty popular villains, and it is very likely that we might see them in the Brave and the Bold movie if Damian Wayne is going to be the main Robin for that story. I'm of course talking about Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. It's Raish, not Raz, all right? Get over it.
Father's name was pronounced Raish, not Raz. A common mistake.
Now, first things first, let's just get this out of the way. Raish Al Ghul and Talia Al Ghul should not just be pasty white people, okay? Casting Liam Neeson as Raish Al Ghul was probably the worst casting choice in the Dark Knight trilogy. Actually, that's not true. Tom Hardy as Bane was way worse. Anyway, no, they're not going to be white, all right? I mean, they're from a place called Nanda Parbat up in the mountains. Sounds pretty foreign to me. All right, so for Raish, my gut is telling me to go with someone like Ghassan Massoud. But the thing is, he's 67, he's getting up there, he has the look, but you know, if this is going to be a recurring character in a cinematic universe, you're going to want to pick someone who might be with us for a little longer. Also, Raish Al Ghul is a repeat user of the Lazarus Pit, all right? It is a chemical that makes you de-age and gives you essentially superpowers. So why would Raish Al Ghul choose to look this old? I think we should go with somebody a little bit younger, but not too young. So that leads me to my pick for Raish Al Ghul, that being Oded Fair. I probably just butchered that pronunciation, my bad, but I mean, look at him. He's got the look, but he's not too old, all right? He looks like a healthy, strong individual that would be capable of taking on the Dark Knight in combat. I mean, I think Raish Al Ghul would use the pit to make himself look around this age. He wouldn't be too old, but also not too young, okay? Because he still wants to be a commanding figure with wisdom and authority. And if you make yourself look like a 20-year-old, you're not really going to be commanding armies with the same efficiency as you would if you looked like a healthy 50-year-old. All right, now let's talk about Talia. Now, I don't know how they're going to go about her and Batman's relationship in these movies because, you know, the origins of Damian's conception is a pretty touchy subject. It's really messed up. But I've got 3 possible picks for Talia, and I think I do have a favorite. All right, so I think my 3 picks for Talia would have to be Meg Calloway, Elodie Young, and Claudia Domit. Now, you could go with any one of these actresses. They're all incredibly talented, but I do think that Elodie Young is my favorite. She was in Daredevil, she played Elektra, and I think that her personality in that show matches up with Talia the best. She was the bad influence character in that show. She was always tempting Matt to make the wrong decision, do the evil thing. And I think that that personality pretty much lines up with what we're looking for. And then Meg Calloway could also be really good. She was in Moon Knight, but you know, I think that she just looks too nice to be Talia, because Talia is like a truly terrible person, at least post Grant Morrison. So I don't know if she could really land the look for the role just because she looks too much like a nice person. And again, I will not be casting Damian Wayne in this video. I think that the role should go to a 10-year-old, and it is very hard to find child actors. All right, the next villain on the list has to be Hugo Strange. I mean, I would just love to see an Arkham Asylum-centered Batman movie. You could do a whole conspiracy plot. Hugo Strange is in there conducting experiments on patients. He's just a really evil guy. You could take a lot of, inspiration from Arkham City. Hugo Strange was an incredibly intimidating antagonist. I mean, he had a whole army working for him. I don't know if they'd go that far, but I would love to see Hugo Strange in a Batman movie. I think he'd be a really good side main villain, somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings. I think it would just be perfect. Okay, but there's only one guy I want playing Hugo Strange. He might not have the perfect typical Hugo Strange look, but I really think that it could work. And I'm talking about Daniel Day Kim. He just has the look, in my opinion. He's the right age. He's almost 60, which, by the way, he has aged incredibly well for a almost 60-year-old. He has an extensive acting career. I mean, he's been in so many movies and video games and all different kinds of projects. He definitely has the experience, and I really do think that he has the acting chops to pull off a role like this. He just has that kind of quiet, intelligent, but kind of dark look. He could get up to something foul. I really just think he has the look, and I think he's a sleeper pick that not enough people are really talking about. All right, here comes the most controversial part of the video. I will be talking about who should play Joker and Harley in this universe. All right, let's talk about Harley first. Now, with Harley, you could just stick with Margot Robbie. That would make sense. She could be canon. She was in the Suicide Squad movie. But I think that some people are ready for a fresh start. They want something new. And I understand that desire, because honestly, you could go either way, and I wouldn't really care. All right, so my pick for a brand new Harley Quinn would have to be Victoria Pedretti. Some of you might have seen her in the show You. She was a major character in that show. And if you've seen it, you probably know why I've chosen her. She is in a relationship very similar to the Joker and Harley with Joe Goldberg. Now, in that show, she is absolutely insane, completely psycho. But she's also a tragic character because she is just hopelessly in love with Joe Goldberg, and he is just a terrible person. He is just the worst. So the resemblance is there, and you might be saying, oh, I just picked her because she reminds me of Harley in the show. And I mean, yeah. Okay, if somebody does a performance that reminds you of another character, you're probably more inclined to pick them as like a fan cast or something. I'm definitely influenced by her performance and you. It just makes sense, all right? And I've seen some people online saying that she looks weird, like she's not, good looking enough for the role, but like, come on. Are we being serious right now? She's younger than Margot Robbie, so she could last in a cinematic universe a little bit longer. I think it would be nice, to see something fresh, something new, because Margot Robbie has been playing the character since 2016. I think it might be time for a change, And another decent pick for Harley Quinn could be Ella Purnell. I already have her as Zatanna. You can, see that fan cast in my Justice League video, but I think she would make a pretty good Harley Quinn as well. And, I don't necessarily like it when actors have a monopoly on characters because, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. As much as I like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I think it would have been nice to see somebody else play them a few times. Not to say that he, does a bad job. He's an amazing Wolverine. But, an example could be Wesley Snipes' Blade. I mean, he hasn't even played the character that many times, but, he's got a monopoly on him. I mean, he showed up as Blade again in Deadpool and Wolverine while the Mahershala Ali Blade movie was canceled. Like, what are we doing here, okay? Somebody else can play Blade, all right? It's not the end of the world. All right, next, let's talk about the Joker. Now, let's just get this first one out of the way. Obviously, Willem Dafoe would have been the perfect Joker. He's just too old now, but he's one of those fan casts that's just revolutionary, and he would have just changed the game, all right? I mean, you have Dylan O'Brien as Nightwing. That would have been crazy. But, it never happened, and I think we just have to get over it, move on. But damn, he would have been so good. All right, the first guy on my list might be a bit of a younger option. We have Jamie Campbell. You've probably seen him as Vecna from Stranger Things. I think that just, he has the freak look, if you know what I mean. Kind of a freak, a weirdo. I mean, all of these guys are really, but I think that this guy could do a decent job, but it just might be a little bit too young. The next option is a little bit of a sleeper pick. We have Domhnall Gleeson. Now, he was recently in the Paper TV show, which is a soft sequel to The Office, and he was also in Star Wars. Now, I think that he could be really good in the role. I don't know what his laugh would sound like or what his Joker smile would, be like. You don't really know that for a lot of these actors. You're pretty much going off of, their base looks and their acting abilities. But I think he's a really good actor, and he, did act pretty insane in Star Wars, so it could be good. All right, so I have two guys tied for number one. Now let's get the most obvious one out of the way. Obviously, everyone knows that Bill Skarsgård would be an absolutely perfect Joker. He's got the weird look, he's got the smile, all right? He's a great actor, and he's already played a clown, all right? He was Pennywise in the It movies. It just makes sense, all right? I think it's just the perfect modern Joker casting. And the second pick tied for number one is Jake Gyllenhaal, all right? I don't know if a lot of people have really considered him. I know a lot of people wanted him to be Batman, but I think he would absolutely kill it as the Joker. He is one of the best actors around. He just plays crazy so well. I mean, have you seen his face? Like the things he can make his face do? He's just an insane guy. And I don't know. I just think you have to pick one of those A-list actors to play the Joker. Like, there's no way you're going to top Heath Ledger's performance, but I mean, you could. And if you want to do it, you pick an actor like Jake Gyllenhaal. So I think either one of those guys could be the perfect Joker. Bill Skarsgård or Jake Gyllenhaal. They both have the acting ability. They both have the look. They both can just do some weird things with their faces. It just makes sense, all right? All right, before we end this video, let me address my last casting video. Very controversial. I was talking about the Bat family. I think more than half of you absolutely hated what I had to say. I had comments calling me a dumbass, saying I was the worst YouTuber ever. Really? The worst YouTuber when we got this guy right here? Okay, come on. But, the discussion was really good. I was in the comments for a long time, just looking at what everyone had to say. And so my opinions have changed yet again. And I think I've narrowed down what I think is a pretty good Bat family cast. So let me just lay it out real quick. We got Brandon Sklenar, Hugh Laurie, Felix Mallard, Hero Phineas Tiffin, Maya Hawke, and then Carter Rockwood. So that would be Batman, Alfred, Nightwing, Jason, Barbara, and Tim. I think that that's pretty good. We're not going to cover Damian because, you know, child actor stuff. But yeah, so I think that's going to be about it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it all, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button and drop in the comments some villains that you would love to see in this DC universe. And, you know, if you disagree with me on my picks and stuff, let me know. All right, I love having discussions. I love seeing what you guys have to say. And, you know, I really do just enjoy interacting with you all. So keep talking to me. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.